Welcome to the Weekend Booktopian. I'm Mark Harding, Content and Brand Manager for Booktopia, and this is a podcast about the books that we're reading. Joining me today are Olivia Fricot, Senior Content Producer. Hello, Olivia.
Hi.
And we're also joined by Campaign Coordinator, Ashleigh Berry. Hi, Ash.
Hey.
And we are also joined by Executive Assistant to the CEO, Keirouz. Hello, Zia.
Hello.
So first, we're going to discuss a little bit of book news. Then we'll delve into the books that everybody is up to at the moment. And be sure to stick around till the end of the show when my guests will go head-to-head in a book quiz battle for book quiz trivia knowledge supremacy that we like to call Book Fight. And Zia is defending her title today because she was the first person to win solo. And so the pressure is on.
Bring it.
Excellent. All right. So book news. Biggest news to come out of the book world this week is undoubtedly the Booker Prize long list has been announced. It was announced on Tuesday. So I thought we could go around and see what, if anything, we've read off the long list. First up, why don't we start with you, Liv? What have you read?
Honestly, not a lot. I'm very ashamed of myself. Mostly because I thought that other books would get onto the long list, and I was mistaken. I've talked about this enough, so I'm not going to go into it. But I've read Such a Fun Age by Keirouz. Really loved that book. Ben, Joe, and I were talking about it in our Booker Prize podcast from yesterday, I think it was. It's like quite a commercial pick for the Booker long list, but it's excellent. So I'm really happy to see that one on there. I have not yet read The Mirror and the Light because I also haven't read Bring Up the Bodies, but I will be reading it at some point. And I also have How Much of These Hills Is Gold by C-Pam Zhang on my list to read. It's a really interesting long list. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I read How Much of These Hills Is Gold, and I absolutely adored that novel. But that's the only one off the list that I've actually gotten to. What about you, Ash? Have you read anything?
No. So I'm at 0 from the list. I have behind me a few to-be-read piles, which has Such a Fun Age on it and Wolf Hall. So that one's been staring me down. Yeah, I really think I would. It's just my pile is multiplying. It seems daily now. So I think luckily with its inclusion on this list, it's really bumped it up. Same with the Wolf Hall trilogy. I know that's something I would love as well. But yeah, unfortunately, nothing from the list. But I also see it as a positive. You know, now I've got 10 new titles I can explore.
What about you, Zia? Have you gotten anything off the list?
All right, I'm going to be honest because this is a safe and open space. I didn't know what that prize was until I Googled it today. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I went and looked at every single book on that list and I was like, oh, this is my new love. Look at the content of the book subject matter. A lot of them really are up my alley. I'm very into. So I'm a political science major in international relations. That's my sort of passion and love from a very young age, until I sadly got a real job. And I will admit that there's like 5 on this 4 books I've written down that I'm just added to my wish list. And the top of it is probably, I can't even pronounce it, a Paragon.
In Paragon, yeah.
There you go. So that is a topic dear to my heart. I am Middle Eastern. I come from the Middle East, and I lived there during the Civil War. And I have read a few books, and I'm really really excited to read this because I think it's something like The Lemon Tree. So I'm thinking it's a bit like that, and probably an amalgamation with a little bit of like Robert Fisk, Pity the Nation type, which both books I just love, and Once Upon a Time in Beirut, and they're really up my alley. So this is sort of like, yep, this is the top. And the other one is probably the Mournable Body. Just perspective. Africa is such a not many of us have been there, and when we see perspective and stories from there, I think to me it's absolutely amazing, and I love to see the true, not like, hey, African safari, or oh my God, poverty and death and flies and all that kind of stuff. Just real people, real stories in that part of the world is just fascinating to me. One of the ones that I don't think I would love to read, but I don't think I could, Shaggy Bane. I read the description and I was like, no, it's very Frank McCourt, very Billy Elliot kind of sounding, and it would just break my heart. I need to be in a good space to read that, I think, because it would just break me, I think. I don't know. That's me. Those are my 4, wish list.
What about you, Liv and Ash? Is there anything that kind of stands out to you from the nominees that you definitely want to jump into in the short term?
Sorry, you go.
Me? No, I was just going to say, yeah, probably similarly. I haven't done as much of a deep dive into the list, but I'm pretty open to most genres. So I think what I just tend to do is add them all to my wish list. And when I finally, you go through moods and what I feel like one day I know I'll see it and just really want to read it. So, I mean, that's kind of, it's a must-read list for me.
So you add them all to your wish list, and then when the short list is announced, you get rid of half.
I blindly just believe, that Booker Prize long list, I trust in it. So I think, I'm gonna add away. And then, my twice a week scrolls from my wish list. Every now and then I feel like in a different mood for something, and then I just get it. So that's what I'm banking on.
What about you, Liv?
I kind of want to dive into Real Life by Brandon Taylor. I'm a sucker for a campus novel. I guess I'm searching for something to fill the void that The Secret History never did. Sorry. But I don't know. I find campus novels interesting, and they're like a really great backdrop for all kinds of plots to deal with trauma and like discovery, self-discovery, but also knowledge. And I don't know. I'm not explaining it very well, but just that was the one that's jumping out to me. And also kind of the one that I've been looking at, like I keep flicking back to it over the last
The New Wilderness.
days.
The New Wilderness.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what I was
that's on mine too.
They're just like, that one looks cool. That looks really cool. And then it's one of those like, they don't want to say climate fiction, but it's set kind of the overdeveloped, overpopulated metropolis.
It gave me a Huxley Brave New World feel.
Yeah.
Chrysalids, Lord of the Flies. I don't know, that's what I got. And I was like, oh, these are good.
Got a fantastic cover as well.
It really does.
That one's just jumped up.
Now, here's a question.
Top of the list.
Do you think that anybody got snubbed?
Yes.
Good.
I'm going to answer this, Mark. You're asking this question just to bait me.
Good.
Basically, I'm devastated that Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell didn't make it on the list. That looks beautiful. I'm not going to say anything else about it. I'm just going to curl up into my jumper and yell. Anyway,
well, strong.
Do you know? Would you have any idea why you think they were snubbed? Or
well, apparently publishers only get. It depends how many times you've had a book shortlisted or won in the past, but each publisher only gets about 1 or 2 slots. And the publisher of that is Tinder Press, and I have a feeling they may have submitted something else. They may not even have submitted Hamnet.
Are you saying that Tinder Press swipes left instead of
Mark? No.
Self high five for that.
No.
No, I'll high five you, Mark. That was gold. I'm so bad.
Don't encourage him.
Okay,
that was pretty good.
And last question on the book before we move on. Predictions. Does Hilary Mantel, obviously we can call her by her full name, which is Hilarious Mantelpiece. Right. Does Hilary Mantel have it in the bag?
I hope so. Just
I
for
never buy it.
harmony. Did the other 2 were Booker winners, weren't they? Wolf and yeah. So I think I need the last one to win, just to have that little trilogy as a Booker Prize one.
Do you know what that feels like, though? It's like being nominated for 14 Academy Awards and not winning Best Picture, like Avatar. They won every single other category except for Best Picture. It was kind of a letdown, whereas Ex-Wife won it, The Hurt Locker. Great movie. But I think you're right, Ash. It would need to be like a nice bow, Hollywood sort of big finale, big 3. Woo.
Tell you what, it really would be a...
So I'm not even enter into this every year and just like, this book will win. No, it's not even shortlisted.
Can you imagine going over to her house if she doesn't win, and then she's like, these are my 2 awards that I won for my 3 books about Thomas Cromwell. That really would be a hilarious mantelpiece.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Moving on from the Booker Prize to some news that broke today. Matthew McConaughey, the world-famous actor, has announced his new book called Green Lights. And I thought what we could do is, just to give you a flavour of what it's about, we've got a special guest who's going to come in and read the statement that Matthew McConaughey made. And so please give a warm Weekend Booktopia welcome to Matthew McConaughey.
What?
Hey, Matt.
All right. Ever since I learned to write, I've been keeping a journal, writing down anything that turned me on, turned me off, made me laugh, made me cry, and question what kept me up at night. 2 years ago, I worked up the courage to take all those journals off into solitary confinement just to see what I had, and I returned with a book. I'm calling it Green Lights because it's a story about how I have, and we all can catch more of them in this life we're living. We don't like the red and yellow lights because they take up our time. When we realize that they all eventually turn green, that's when they reveal their rhyme. That's when life's a poem and we start getting what we want and what we need at the same time. And I call that the honey hole, a little place called heaven on earth. Wow, thanks Matt for coming in. That was great.
Wait.
Because
Look,
I
I'm interested.
That prematurely aged me, Mark. Encourage him. He's not any of your boss.
So anyway, Matthew McConaughey's new book, Green Lights. He's just come in and given you the pitch for what it's about. What are we expecting from this?
I don't
It's
know where to
probably
start.
going to be amazing.
I reckon it'll be like a psychedelic trip down poetry lane where, like that movie I was telling you guys about. Have you guys watched The Beach Bum on Netflix?
No.
Can I say Netflix? Anyway, so it's basically Matthew McConaughey living a life of a poet. I don't know if it's real or fiction. I'm not into poetry. And he's basically, Isla Fisher's in it, Snoop Dogg, Jimmy Buffett, Jonah Hill. I'm trying to think is like all-star cast, right? Weird movie. And it's about this poet who is absolutely brilliant and says, but lives this life of weird excess down in the Florida Keys. Bizarre. It is the weirdest life. And you just basically, this is you. You go to bed after watching the movie, you wake up and you're like, that actually wasn't that bad, but it was really bad. But I kind of liked it. He embodies that character of that really weird, poetic, sort of weird, but enlightening kind of dude. So I'm kind of excited to read that book, to be honest. Sorry, Liv.
If it's anything like that.
Go for it.
It probably that role doesn't.
My contempt is for me alone. If you want to read that book, go for it.
Yeah,
Books, life's too short to shame people for the books they read.
I really hope I'm your Kris Kringle this year.
Yeah, because like this book, the way that he describes it, it really sounds like rather than being, about his career, it's more his teachings, I guess.
Exactly.
Life reflections.
Yeah. And like he's been keeping a journal since he learned to write, which would mean he's been keeping journals since he was very, very young, unless he came to writing later in life.
Well, he did say it's 50 years of his life. So
amazing. He's ageless, Ash.
Really is. Look, I love him. I actually like him. I think he's very likable and just weird, but he's likable, and I'd be interested. Well, I'd pick it up, I reckon.
I don't know why he called it Green Lights, because in his statement he said the phrase honey hole, and I think that would be an incredible title.
I don't want to know. I don't want to read about any of Matthew McConaughey's honey holes.
That sounds like something out of the Hillary Clinton fan fiction novel.
Hillary Clinton and honey holes should never be in one sentence.
That's on my to be out pile.
The phrase Bill Clinton uses the phrase honeypot in relation to Hillary Clinton, so I'm just going to leave you. Yeah.
Can we not live?
Okay.
What book is this, Liv? I think
I don't want to be on record of me trashing a Curtis Sittenfeld novel, but it's Rodham by Curtis Sittenfeld.
That's actually on my list.
People saying it's great. I just can't bring myself to do it.
We talked about this one. I think I can't remember who was it. You, Ash, that mentioned it on the last one, or was it?
Yes,
I can't remember.
someone had read it in the last one we did.
I don't
That's
want
right.
to derail this conversation anymore.
All right.
Sorry. Yep.
Let's move on. So what are you guys reading at the moment? Yeah, let's turn to you first. What are you reading?
Is it me?
I said Zia.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Zia, Olivia, kind of the same.
Okay. I know I've enlightened you guys with my really deep dive into the Booker Prize list and, talking all other titles. I'm reading look, I think they're good, but I'm going through this phase at the moment of self-development, and was gifted Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, and I am reading that because it sort of ties in with the course I'm doing as well. And she's brilliant, and just the you read a lot of leadership books, and a lot of them written by men, in the last God knows how long, and they're very pragmatic. They're very like step 1, step 2, step 3, the leadership and blah blah blah. But she really focuses on vulnerability and actually not seeing that as a negative thing, and actually being vulnerable and to becoming, and also to building yourself to being a great leader, and also being the best leader you can be while embracing all your humanity. That's where I'm getting the vibe. And I'm also reading the Fast 800, which is it's a diet book, really, another one. And I think I can do this one. Couldn't do all the other ones that I've bought, but I think I can do this one. So I'm reading those ones. Not very interesting.
We chatted to Dr. Michael Mosley on our Facebook Live last month, was it? About, because he's the Fast 800 author, and he's written a new book about coronavirus. We had a really good chat to him about that people can check out if they go to our Facebook page.
Oh, there you go. But look, it's a good book, and it's easy to read. It's not very scientific like a lot of those books, the hardcover books where you're like, this is how your liver functions, and it tells you all this. You're like, dude, I just want to, I want to lose weight and live a healthy lifestyle without, going too hard into the science. I think he does that really well and explains it. And now I have another list of books, so I just got to finish these 2 and buy these ones.
Excellent. Thank you, Zia. What about you, Ash? What are you reading at the moment?
So the book I'm currently reading is called Why Visit America by Matthew Baker. So it's a short story collection, but it's pretty much described as Black Mirror meets Stranger Things. Now, don't punish me, I haven't seen Stranger Things, but it's definitely living up to the Black Mirror side of it. So it's, like I said, short stories of an America riddled with modern day dilemma, but with just something slightly off, like a bit of tech we've never heard of before, or like a social custom that's completely alien to us. So I'm really enjoying it. The description is billing it as kind of a guidebook of sorts. So
I'm on a wish list. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Shanu gave it to me, saying she thought I'd enjoy it, and so far so good. I'm 4 stories in, so I can attest to its kind of, it says that it's parallel universes that are creating, a composite portrait of our true nature and a dark reflection of the world we live in. So it's big on like shining a light on human nature, current society, and it's just something to consider. My method when I read short story books is I kind of like read one story, come back in about 24 hours, read another one, and that's never been more applicable than with this book. I find myself needing that time to consider each story. So I've written a quick summary of 2 of the stories if you guys want a quick glimpse at what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So one of the stories, so like I said, I'm only 4 in, but so far so good. So one story, it's set where the world population is 11 billion people. So currently we're at 7.8, something like that. But there's this thing called rights. So the concept is that when you reach 70 years of age, you're expected to perform a rites, which it's a social expectation, but not a law. So what it essentially is voluntary euthanasia, but it becomes like a family celebration, celebrating the life, but the purpose is to ease the burden on society, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's a really interesting, like it's quite a deep dive into thought process. It's about someone who chooses not to go ahead with their rights at that age and the family's backlash, society's backlash on this person. So I found that really interesting looking at today, like they mention back when, but obviously current day, like nursing homes and aged care homes and that kind of burden, as it keeps calling it in the story, on society, and it quite tries to shame this person. So that's one kind of story it goes into. And another story, it's about a transition operation from body to data. So it's about the mind being converted to digital data. So the person in the story just has never felt at one with their body, feeling disconnected. You know, they don't like showering, eating, needing to fuel it, needing to commute around, having to lug this physicalness around. They just want the ability to read and to think and to communicate. So all their life, they've only found that happiness there. So there's now this technology that converts your body to like a computer system, and then you become online. So it's kind of, the story is less about the process and more about the family coping with this person in their family's decision to go through with this procedure. So I found that a really interesting blend of current topics and society and the impact that the online has and technology has on us. So
none of that. I'm definitely going to get a copy. That sounds so interesting.
Ash, can you send me the title?
I'll send you the link. It's called Why Visit America. But
we'll put a link in the show notes for this.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I think to sum it up, I'd say expect strange. I've had a quick look at other people's thoughts on it, and the first story does start really normal. I read it and I was like, oh, okay, if this is the vibe, fair enough. But then it just got strange. So from what I read, it just gets stranger and stranger. And personally, like I said, I love that Black Mirror concept of like subtle things just a bit miss. But yeah, and also expect to kind of think, you know, just reflect on society today.
That second story sounds like it reminds me of a couple of things that I've read. But there was a book that I read a few years ago. I think it was by Peter F. Hamilton, and in that the idea was that you're constantly backing your brain up into like the cloud, essentially, and then when your body dies, what happens is your family clones a new one, and then you get downloaded back into like the new brain, and you continue living your life. But I think in that book, if I'm not mistaken, one of the issues was that people who had that happen a lot, they kind of live these very online lives when they're disconnected from the body. And so, like after a while, people stop wanting to come back because they just want to like exist as pure information in the cloud, which I thought was really
interesting. Yeah, definitely.
That could actually be a spoiler for that book, so I won't say the title. Also because I can't.
Well, it hooked to me, so.
Excellent. That's cool. Have you been reading anything else?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always reading things. Another book, maybe that's a different vibe, is I recently read Sex and Vanity. So I wrote a review on that too for us, but it's kind of the complete opposite. It's by Kevin Kwan, who wrote Crazy Rich Asians. So it's just a fun kind of romp in Italy and America, New York, of just, you know, the extravagance, the rich, the kind of that opulent life. And yeah, it could not be more opposite than a gritty kind of near future dystopian reality. But I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I haven't read the Crazy Rich Asian trilogy. I saw the movie, which was brilliant, and it inspired me to want to read this book. And yeah, I devoured it and absolutely loved it.
Excellent. I've not read Crazy Rich Asians or seen the film, but
What?
yeah, I know, right?
So good.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a chick flick though. Like,
well,
It's too
smart.
yeah, look, some people, I'm not saying that in a misogynistic way. I'm just saying it like it has that chick flick vibe, and some people don't like that. Even chicks,
heavy on the romance.
Very heavy on the romance.
Brilliant.
You know, it remakes Elvis's the soundtrack, and you know, Fools Rush In. Really good remake of that, by the way, and it's very rom-com. great though.
So watch
was
it.
never-
What is it? Oh, what the comedian?
Can't help falling.
Where she's like, oh my god,
What's her name? She was in Ocean's 8.
Asian Ellen.
Awkwafina?
Yes.
Awkwafina, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So good. She's so good. She's really
She's
funny
brilliant.
in that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Liv, what have you been reading?
Okay. So the first time I came on the Weekend Booktopian, I absolutely butchered a description of Gideon the Knight by Tamsin Muir. That book is so weird that I don't quite know how to describe it. But I finished it recently and went and begged Pan Macmillan for an advance copy of Harrow the Ninth, which is the sequel. And I'm even more obsessed. So I feel really bad about how badly I butchered talking about that book. So if any Gideon fans listening, I'm very sorry. But basically, I think I described it as like Knives Out meets Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo or The Magicians. Like it's like it was this haunted house mystery and like characters kept getting bumped off, but they're all competing to become like the ultimate necromancers, and it's really cool. And Harrow the Ninth kind of takes up with a character from the first book. She's kind of succeeded in a lot of ways, but lost everything in another real sense. And the way that this book's written is really interesting. It's kind of, I don't want to say because it might spoil the first book, but like the author Tamsin Muir does some really interesting things with perspective, and you can tell that something's like not quite right with the character. And I just also love that the character Harrow is like, I don't know if you can see, she's totally evil and miserable, and naturally I love her. So I'm really happy that we are getting her perspective this time around. Yeah, I can't say anything without spoiling the first one if you haven't, but if you like sci-fi or fantasy or like space operas even, like this series is a combination of all of them. It's really cool. So yeah.
I don't know how you mangled the pitch for it first time round, because all you have to say for that book is lesbian necromancers in a haunted house in space. Like that's all you need.
It's also just really funny. Well, the Harry the Ninth isn't as funny because it's from a different character's perspective, but like there's still moments of like laugh out loud humor. It's really funny, but also really gory, like, which I don't normally read, but she does not hold back on descriptions of blood and guts, which is kind of cool if you don't really follow it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Is it set to be a trilogy or like? Or not?
Yeah. So the third book is going to be called Electo the Ninth. Haven't met anyone called Electo yet, so I'm holding out to see who the third book's going to be about. But yeah, I'm hooked on this. It's really cool.
And when's it coming out?
August 4th. So in a couple of days.
That's really soon.
Yeah.
Exciting. Have you been reading anything else?
Yes. A few weeks ago, I picked up Olive by Emma Gannon. Was really enjoying it, and then had to put it down to read a couple of other work-related things because I thought this was coming out earlier than it was. Basically, this is like a very Marion Keyes-esque Nina Stibb story about a young woman in her 30s, I think, as she's trying to figure out whether or not she wants kids. And she lives in London? London? Yes. Emma Gannon is like a blogger. She's really cool. I've come across her online before, and I just thought she seems really awesome. And she's written a book that's actually a lot of fun. So if you are a fan of Marion Keyes or Nina Stibb, like I said, you will love this. So that's Olive.
Awesome. Those are some great recommendations, guys. Thank you so much. So now we come to the point of the show where Zia has to defend her title. Crack your knuckles. It's time. It's time for book fight. Nick will insert some sound effects here. So I have my very scientific method of scoring, which is writing it down on a piece of notepaper.
Just give it to Liv. She's going to win. I'm telling you.
I'm going to go to pieces, but I'm also going to be very competitive. Just going to put that out there.
All right.
Excellent. Okay, so like we've got two options for book fight. I mean, Matthew McConaughey could come back and host, or not.
No.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Look bad.
I think that is a no and should remain a no. Okay, so book fight. Question 1. Name as many books as you can
No.
from the. Oh wait, we haven't done the thing yet. You got to tell me the word that you're going to buzz in with. Sorry,
Okay.
Matthew McConaughey distracted me. It's not often you get like an A-list Hollywood celebrity visiting your house.
Totally understand.
All right, Liv. What word will you buzz in with?
Bing.
All right, Ash.
Oh, really.
Lamp.
Do you really love the lamp?
I love lamp.
And Zia.
I'm just going to say oh, because that's how I always answer. Oh, like that.
That's good strategy. All right. So, question 1. Name as many books as you can from the 2020 Booker Prize long list.
Bing.
Pink. Oh.
Oh no. The Shadow King.
Yep.
Was that me? The Shadow King. Epiragon. Do I have to have authors?
No, just title.
Now
Shit.
you're showing off.
Such a fun age. Real life. The Mirror in the Light. Oh god. This Mournable Body. How Much of These Hills is Gold. Oh god. The New Wilderness. Did I say that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
The New Wilderness. There's 13 of them, aren't there? Shit. Oh. Shivers. Oh, Love and Other
Experiments.
Love and Other Thought Experiments.
Yeah.
You got to give a point to Zia there.
And can I do the other one? The last one?
Yeah. Go for it.
Shuggy Bane.
Shuggy Bane. It's a great name.
All right.
All
So Liv, you got 9, and Zia, you got 1.
That's a rough start.
Okay, cool. Did anybody actually say Mirror in the Light? I was just tallying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Now, the next question is the opening line to a novel. Now, this week, I often ask one of these questions, and it's often a famous line. Now, this week, it's a bit different. This week, the line itself isn't famous, but the book is hugely famous, and there is a clue as to the title in the line that I'm about to read you, if that makes sense. Okay.
Sure.
In later years, holding forth to an interviewer or to an audience of aging fans at a comic book convention, Sam Clay liked to declare, apropos of his and Joe Cavalier's greatest creation, Liv?
It's Michael Chabon. It's The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
Yay! Which is also one of my favorite books. So
it's a beautiful book. I love that book.
It's gorgeous, and I have it right here, which is why I was excited about.
Oh, that's the version I have.
Yeah, this is like my favorite book. I traveled around Europe with this, and like I read it constantly. And I loved it. Anyway, cool. Well, that was good. Well done. All right, the next one is also a bit of a Liv question. If you don't get this, Liv, I'm going to be disappointed in you as a person. Not to put too much pressure.
And then straight away, Ash will win out of default because because it's rigged, and Ash deserves to win if you don't get this, Liv.
Whoever gets 0 points wins.
All right.
Acton Bell, Cara Bell, and Ellis
Bing.
Bell. Yeah.
They are the pseudonyms of the Bronte sisters, Charlotte, Emily, and Anne.
Very good.
Sorry.
All right. The next one is the opposite of a Liv question. So
It's a Matthew McConaughey movie question.
probably closer to a Matthew McConaughey movie than in book form. So, The Two Lost Mountains by Matthew Riley is out in October. What number installment of the Jack West Jr. books is it? And bonus points if you can name the first novel in the series. So these Jack West Jr. books, every book starts with a number and they count down. So what was the first number? And then you'll be able to work out what installment this one is.
Bing.
Okay.
It's number 6.
Very good.
And the first book, oh god, The 7 Lost Kingdoms. No, it's not that. Oh god, I don't know. I don't know the first book.
It's 7 Ancient Wonders.
Oh, whatever.
But yeah, very good. That Two Lost Mountains is book 6 in that series.
Just means I could count. It's not that
Yep.
impressive.
Okay. Next question. In 2019, George R.R. Martin said that if he hadn't finished The Winds of Winter by June 29, 2020, which was Wednesday, then what could his fans do to him?
Bing.
Liv, oh my God.
Imprison him or something?
Yeah. Wow.
I read this literally this morning.
Yeah, he said that they could imprison him in a small cabin on White Island overlooking that lake of sulfuric acid until he's done.
Okay, I didn't know that bit.
That's a point for you.
Okay.
You're killing it. You could be setting a record here, Liv.
I'm embarrassed.
Can we
now.
actually come back from this?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's a question at the end where you can come back, but you won't.
Okay.
But you can.
I don't know why I asked. It doesn't matter.
Sad What Lady is the title of a new motherhood memoir by Ash Davenport.
Bing.
Liv,
Sad mum lady.
very good. Okay, we're about to hit the final question. Now, this is a question where you can win as many points as you want. Like if you get enough answers right. So just to give a score check, defending champion Zia is on 1 point. Uber competitive Olivia is on 14 points. And Ash is on, well, let's not talk about that.
I'm not too proud of myself. I'm just, why am I like this?
Okay, so this question. Name as many books as you can that begin with the letter A. So if you jump in and you can name 15 books.
Oh,
yeah.
does the word
yeah.
A count?
Well, a paragon.
Yep.
That's number one. I'm like sitting here. Yep, that's Ashes. Angela's Ashes.
Yep.
A Brave New World.
Is that called A Brave New World or is it just called Brave New World?
Just called Brave.
Probably just Brave New World.
What?
And it's without the A.
Okay.
Just looking at my bookshelf.
Yeah, well, that's cheating. That's cheating. Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
A Boy's Life. A Boy's Life. This Boy's Life. A Boy's Life. Something. I remember
I'm
that.
sure there's a book called A Boy's Life. Let's go with
Sure
that.
there is.
I'm going to Google this.
Please. Apocalypse Now.
That's a movie.
Oh, it's a book, isn't it? It has to be based on a book.
It's based on
Based
Heart
on
of
The Heart
Darkness
of Darkness by
by
Joseph
Joseph
Conrad.
Conrad. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, guys. Come on.
Sit
I
down.
think, yeah, I know. I'm just going to stop now. So,
Okay. Well, look, that brings you to a grand total of 5 points.
hey, I tried.
I also really accepted the first one. I thought it was Anne of Green Gables.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay.
I
Archie
actually
as well.
I have no A books on my shelf.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. There's nothing there.
Oh.
My books are arranged alphabetically by author name, not title, so that does not help me.
Do you know something that is really funny? I always am a bit fascinated by people who I can never remember author names. I remember titles and stories. It's bizarre. Like I've never been this book by such and such. I always have to look up the author name. I'm really, I don't know. It's really weird. That's how I categorize books, and I've always fascinated when you guys can rattle off all these people's names.
Everything, every way of categorizing books on your bookshelf is fine and legitimate, except for color coordinating them.
True. Yes, I agree.
Just pissed
Those
off
people-
like 70% of our followers, Mark.
Then my job here is done. So at the end of book fight, the scores are coming in third place is Ash with 0. Coming in at second place is Zia with 5 points, but she lost her title and got completely crushed by Liv, who hit a massive 14 points, which I think is a record. Nobody's scored that high, right?
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you guys.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
If you guys didn't suck, I'd probably not win this much by this big a margin.